excited to chat with our next guest. He, of course, is the star of Lucifer. He plays Lucifer Morningstar. Of course, we're going to be talking to Mr. Tom Ellis. It was just recently announced that Netflix is going to be giving us a sixth season of Lucifer after it was previously announced that this next season was going to be the last one. Of course, this is the show that was saved from cancellation with the Save Lucifer campaign. And I know that if you guys are like me and you're a fan of the series, you cannot wait to chat with him about all things Lucifer. Okay, we're going to give him one quick second to go over. While we're waiting for him to come through, I definitely want to let you guys know that we will continue to keep this series going. We have some really fun and great folks that we have coming up for Emmy season. In addition to the fact that, we have folks like, Lucifer, where they'll be coming back for a fifth season in just a few weeks. All right, 1 second. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday as much as I am. Let me see this real quick. Let's pull this up. Again, everyone, Lucifer will premiere on Netflix in just a few weeks. It'll be next week, August 21st is when you'll be able to see the fifth season of Lucifer, but not the last season of Lucifer. 1 second. All right. Let's see if we can get him. Let's see. Waiting on. Oh, there we go. We're going to add him in right here. Tom. Yay! There he is. I was just telling folks that they are going to be able to see it. I know.
Technology sweats. I've got technology sweats. I can't do this.
No, you can't have technology sweats because now it's all over. Now we're chilling. You're in London. I'm over here in Los Angeles, and we're just going to get to chat about this season and all the previous seasons of Lucifer and how excited we are that you're about to come back. So
I know.
There's no reason to stress. So first of all, we have to start with like the big news, which is that myself, like a bunch of fans of the show, were kind of bummed because we thought this was going to be the final season, and tricky y'all announced that we're going to get a season 6. So how did that happen?
Do not blame me. I spent the entirety of season 5 believing that was the final season of Lucifer. So I'm with you. I was surprised as you were, to be perfectly honest with you. And we were not that far from finishing season 5 on what I believe was going to be the end of the show. So it was a shock, but also again like huge testament to the fact that people seem to really like the show, and it just won't die.
I mean, it's a show with a lot of the afterlife, so it doesn't seem crazy that it keeps being resurrected, you know?
Well, when Lucifer said in the pilot numerous times, "I'm immortal," he definitely meant it.
Yes, I mean, seriously. Well, so how did they tell you guys? Because, again, like, we didn't know, and then they come out with that great graphic with the, like, 6, which I thought was so fitting. So how did y'all find out, like, okay, this is happening? And then what kind of changes did y'all make? Because I think y'all are, like, doing your farewell tour. And they're like, we're bringing the band back together.
I know, it was really... Well, we were filming season 5, and we were probably about, I would say, gosh, only about a month away from finishing. And then Joe and Ildy said, we need to talk to you. So I went and talked to them, and they said, we've just been asked about doing another season. And I was like, you are kidding. And they said, no, we're not. So that was it. But also we had to keep it quiet for a long time. Even from the crew as well, which was like really difficult because our crew are just amazing, and we love them so much, and they love working on the show so much. And I think that they were all obviously bummed about the fact that we were finishing. And yeah, so that was tough. It was tough. But in terms of the story and stuff, we'd spent quite a while thinking about what the end of our show might be. And in actual fact, the end of our show is probably going to be the same as what we thought it was going to be, but we've found some story to explore leading up to that point still. So we've still kind of got the same ending, but we're sandwiching it with some season 6 stuff that wouldn't have been there had we not had the opportunity.
Well, I'm excited for it. There was a lot of interesting stuff that happened last season, which again was rated 100% fresh on the tomato meter. Last 3 seasons, I might add, were 100% fresh on the tomato meter. That's a feat that not a lot of shows are able to achieve.
I feel very lucky.
Yeah, you should. I mean, look.
And covered in tomatoes.
Yes, we like to cover people in tomatoes. But I think one of the reasons why it is that way is because folks really love these characters. Obviously, there's you and Detective Decker, but I mean, just literally the entire cast of characters, and they really like fleshed out stories for all of them. I mean, we get a Menadil and then the doctor having Charlie, like all these cool things. But I'm just curious from last season, what was a favorite moment for you? Because I have mine, which we'll talk about later, but I'm just curious, what was yours?
Gosh. Last season, I mean, I loved season 4 for so many reasons. I think, there's so many moments. I think, obviously, having Inbar on the show was great, and introducing the character of Eve, I loved it, and the notion of her being Lucifer's first, and what does that mean, and how does that affect him, and if things aren't going right with the detective, what does Eve represent, and reminding him of the person that he used to be before he had this kind of evolution during the show. So I really liked having that, not only just as a device, but also the fact that Inbar Levy is just brilliant.
So good.
And just, I had so much fun working with her, and she's very much like me. She's always trying things out all the time, and you know, we very rarely would do, you know, the same take twice. And I love working like that, you know, being on my toes and just having a partner who's going to throw it back at you. And she was just great. So, yeah, I think that was probably my highlight of season 4.
I definitely loved Eve, especially, the dynamic that she brought to you and Detective Decker. But I think my favorite part of Eve was what we kind of got to towards the end, which is like the Maze Eve of it all. Mm-hmm. Like, I am a huge part of the Maze Eve ship. I don't even know what we call that ship, but I'm about it.
Meave.
Meave, yes, that's a great Meave ship. Plus, I'm just a huge fan of Leslie as well. Like, just the two of them are so great together. So I'm just curious, are we going to get to see some more Eve in season 5?
Oh gosh, I mean that would be telling, wouldn't it?
I know.
I mean, I think we've learned on this show is to never be surprised, or never think that you're not going to be surprised. But let's just say that Inbar Levy did, of course, make a lasting impression on all of us. So let's just leave it there for now, shall we?
Okay, folks can find out on August 21st. What's going on with those two, and a whole bunch of other things that we're going to talk about. Also, I want to mention to folks, we have so many great folks already in the chat, but if you want to ask any questions to Tom at the very end, I'm going to pull from the Q&A, so don't be shy. This is a great chance for you to put all of your...
I'm drinking a tiny beer as well, just to loosen me up a bit.
I love it. I wish it was just a little bit later. I would so join you. It's like 12. It's 12 in the afternoon here, and that's bordering on alcoholic.
Yeah, just to clarify, it is nearly 9 o'clock at night in the UK. So I am around. I'm not just like not lushing it up.
You're doing great. Another thing that I think folks are going to be interested in. So let's talk about where we left off in season 4. So season 4. You know, Lucifer goes through this triangle with Eve and Detective Decker, and then there's the whole Charlie aspect of it, and everyone's worried about the prophecy. And basically, at the end of the season, sorry, spoiler alert, you know, you guys confess your love, Lieutenant Decker and Lucifer confess their love, but then you go back to hell. Mm-hmm. So, like, what? That's not fair. So...
Well, I think Lucifer was learning that it was time that he needed to do something for the greater good. And he realised, unfortunately, that his presence on Earth was threatening the people that he actually cared about. And he's not used to caring about people, so he's never had that equation to figure out before. But I think, unfortunately, he found himself in a place making some kind of, sacrifice. And, that in itself is an evolution for the character, but it leaves us very, very unsatisfied in terms of Decker Star shipping and how far they literally are from each other now.
Yeah. No, I was one of them. I'm like, y'all, they've done so many teases, like season 2 when they did the like dream sequence where I was what is going on here? Y'all have just teased us so much, but I think it's a good thing because I'm of the like Moonlight mentality, which is that the tension and the will they won't they is what makes
Yeah.
it good. And then once they get together, it's not anticlimactic, but it's just not as fun. So I don't
Yeah.
like that y'all tease us, but I'm in for the ride. I'll
Well,
put
put
it
it
to you
this
that
way:
way.
if they'd gotten together in season 1, I don't think we would have had 6 seasons of this show.
Fair. That's fair.
You know.
Yeah. I was an early watcher, and I was telling you in our pre-record that the reason why I started watching it is a friend of mine who's a local Austin artist, which is where I went to school and where I'm from, named Emily Bell, was featured in the first season, I think in like episode 4, and she's like messaging me. She's like, "I'm gonna be on TV, or my song is," and I was like, "Okay, let's check it out." She's like, "It's this devil show," and I was like, "All right, let's do it." And then I've like watched ever since, and the thing I've loved about watching is the music of the show is really incredible. I've gotten so many like Spotify downloads. Like I even just sit, watch it, and open up Shazam like every couple minutes to get that. So like, talk about the music, because I'm sure that's a huge part of not just the story, but like how y'all present the show.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it was something that it struck me immediately when I read the pilot script. Actually, there was a lot of music name checked in the pilot, and specifically older music, actually, like the Rolling Stones and Bowie and stuff. And that was a big part for me of Lucifer's character, that he had a love of music. Music was a language that he understood, and it was a language, that when, for example, we had the Father Frank episode in season 1, he is able to, connect with someone, the most unlikely of people. He connects with through music, and I sort of, as Tom, share that same sentiment. I think music is amazing, and it's been a big part of my life. So I was really keen to keep good music on the show after the pilot, and we talked. I'm always annoying them with song suggestions and stuff of things that could be used and whatever, but mainly just because like we can get a tone of stuff. For example, if you want to use a Rolling Stones track, it's really expensive. So you can listen to Rolling Stones track, and then you can listen to loads of other people that have been influenced by the Stones, whose music isn't as expensive, and we're able to showcase it on the show. And that's basically how the music's evolved in that sense. And subsequently, we've just ended up with this really rocking playlist. That's been great. And then we've also had the opportunity to add to it ourselves, which is something I've never been able to do before. That's been, it's quite mental, really, because music was a big part of my life. Because my mum was a music teacher.
And you're a pianist. I mean, obviously, you're playing.
Well, I'm actually, weirdly, I'm not a pianist.
You're not? I thought that was you.
I'm really good at air piano. I'm playing it right now, look. But basically, I sing, I play guitar, I play a very sexy instrument called the French horn. And music was a huge part of my life. But when I became an actor, or when I went to drama school, there's a big differentiation over here between people who do musical theatre and people who do dramatic acting. And I went down the dramatic acting route, and so subsequently I lost music in my life for a long time. And then, just by accident, on Lucifer, we were doing, so the music had been established as part of the character, but the singing part of it came from a night out that we had during season 1 filming, when we were up in Vancouver, and we all went out and got a bit drunk and went to a karaoke bar with our showrunners, and sang at the karaoke, and they were like, "Oh my God, you can sing!" And the next thing I know, like, I get a script of the next episode, and it's Lucifer singing Cinnamon, Nina Simone, and that's where that sort of all started. But it's been weird that, I fell in love with singing in church when I was growing up, because I grew up in the church, and it's Lucifer that has brought that love of music back to me. So there's a bit of irony for you.
I really do love that, especially because, like, I'm going to be really honest, for me in particular, Cinnamon was one of my favorite musical cues of the whole show. Like, I absolutely love that one. Knocking on Heaven's Door is another. There's tons of devil stuff, if folks don't know. There's lots of devil musical cues. Yeah. But I'm curious, what's your favorite musical cue from the show? If you could pick one?
Oh, I mean, like, when you were asking me about season 4 before, the opening of season 4 and singing Creep was a bit of a highlight, because it's something that, early on when we were musing about Lucifer singing and stuff, I went to Joe and Ildy and said, I've got this version of Creep that I would love to do at some point, because I think it really works for our show, and it works telling a story. We just hadn't found the right moment, and so when Joe called me to say, we're opening with Creep on season 4, I was like, yeah! So yeah, I think so far that. But I have to say, on that note, season 5 part 2 contains our first ever musical episode of Lucifer.
Oh yes.
And I am so excited for people to see it, because we had the most fun making it, and it's it's the music aside, one of my favourite episodes of Lucifer we've ever done because it's just a fantastic story as well. But I mean, we all got to sing, we all got to dance, and for people that know me well enough, they know that for me is like winning a competition.
Oh my God!
And
Well,
living out my dream.
I'm so excited to see it. I've been saving it up. So they gave us the preview, but I just wanted to watch like a couple episodes. One, because I've got a big mouth and I didn't want to spoil anything for this interview. And like, I don't want to like accidentally let something go. But two, like, I guess the good thing and the bad thing is Netflix. If I don't, I'll just glut on the whole season and then I'm like starving for the next one. And so I like try to like give myself a little bit of time like it used to be when I was watching it episodically week to week, because it was a nice thing to like come home to. For us over here, it was on Monday nights. But otherwise, yeah, I remember I did do that. The first Netflix season, I watched it in a day, and then I was just like, I don't have anything. And then I watched, so this is what I just watched from season 1 again and like pretended like I didn't know, but it's not the same. But I'm glad you mentioned the musical theater episode, because that's dope. I didn't know that at all. But I feel like y'all set that up in last season, because in episode 10, y'all have that great opening where like you're dancing. So I want to know about, first of all, reading that in the script, and then like, were you like a kid in a candy store where you're like, oh, I gotta dance?
The first. I was like, I gotta dance. No, it was Ildi Modrovic, who's one half of our show running team. She was like, I've got this idea for the opening of the final episode. It's about Lucifer. It's just like everything's coming up roses for Lucifer, and it was a kind of, I think she'd gotten an idea when she watched 500 Days of Summer. There's a sequence in that's kind of similar, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just everyone flash mobbing in the street and all that. And I was like, I love this idea. Like, and we're always, the weird thing is about our show is that we never really know where the boundaries are of what we can get away with. But we don't know until we have a go at doing it. And then if we commit fully, people seem to go along for the ride. And that's what happened on that one. And it was it was a ridiculous amount of fun. Like learning that dance sequence and doing all of those things. I just that for me is such a euphoric feeling. I'm a bit of a giggler and I love it.
Well, it was fun to watch. It was just so not what I expected, especially like where episode 9 left, and just like, yeah, it was like a good moment, but you knew it's the final episode, so you expect it to be like dramatic. It's like some big things happening, and they like open it up with this like very jovial dance number. It was so unexpected, but just so much fun. I really enjoyed watching that one. It was fun for me. Moving on to what you've been doing, because I think this is great that folks are going to get to have this, because over here, I don't know how it is over there, but over here in Los Angeles, we're still in the midst of everything. And so most folks are still at home. Most folks are probably going to be at home till the end of the year. So we get this great thing to watch at home. But I'm curious, what have you been watching / doing in the pause, as we would say?
Gosh, what have I watched? Well, like many people, I loved The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, because I'm a massive sports fan, and also I love documentaries actually, and that all of that together was just perfect. What else have I been watching? Normal People on Hulu, fantastic. Yes. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that?
I did.
It was great.
Lots of sex.
Yeah, that's not the reason. Not the reason I loved it.
No.
There's something about like just the simplicity and the honesty of a show like that. And also, I May Destroy You on HBO at the moment, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
So good.
Did you watch Chewing Gum? Did you watch Chewing Gum? Because
I didn't. I haven't seen Chewing Gum yet. No.
You got it.
I think I'll go back. I'll go back and watch that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Those are like the main ones that sort of have resonated in our household, and intermingled with a little bit of Selling Sunset, just for kind of. Which I don't know if you've seen. Is on Netflix.
I have seen Selling Sunset because, well, not to tell too much, I can walk to like their office. So like I live in that area of Los Angeles, and so it's honestly very surreal, first of all, and it's great fantasy buying things. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to afford one of these houses, but I appreciably love watching it. Let me know what you think about the wedding episode if you haven't gotten there yet.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Let me know what you think about that one. This actually brings me to my next question too, so I'm going to bring it to the Q&A, which is in season 5 from the preview. I'm not giving anything away. We get to meet Michael, who is Lucifer's twin brother, who has an American accent and seems, if we can say this, to be evil than Lucifer. Yeah, he's definitely evil. He's a terrible man. So which do you
It's a terrible
prefer to
angel.
play? He's a terrible little angel. Who do you like playing, Lucifer or Michael?
Oh, I mean, obviously, loved playing Lucifer, and it was weird actually. What I experienced was everyone on our set really enjoys the characters in the show, right? So when I was playing Michael, even though like everyone knows who I am and everything at work, people would still come up to me and just in my ear they go, "I don't like Michael. I don't like Michael." And the way, and I'm like, me neither. But I'm enjoying the response that I'm getting because that's the response I wanted. So I may actually start a hashtag Michael's a dick when we get going and the season's up and running because that's what I used to say all the time after the take. Because no one liked him, I didn't like him, and I didn't like his intentions, and I did not like what he was doing to our beloved characters.
Especially Chloe, like, let me just say,
Oh
that
my
was the
God.
thing that got me all up in my feelings watching the trailers. Like, this is not supposed to happen that way. This is not supposed to be with some random dude who looks like Lucifer. I was very upset about that.
Well, and also then he drops a bomb on Chloe that everyone has been sort of protecting her from. And when I read that in the script, and when we read that in the read through, everyone was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's just done that."
Like, y'all really hate this dude. And
yeah, we really do.
And then my extension hate you a little bit because you have to play him. This was the thing that I was like enamored with, and definitely I rewound the YouTube video. I was like, he's American. He's making him do an American accent. So talk about the American accent, because I loved Lucifer's very sort of like put off posh Brit accent, but yeah, it made him even more evil, just making him American.
Well, it's interesting actually. When I first started playing around with the character of Lucifer, when I got the pilot script, it wasn't specified that he was British. It just the weird thing was I started experimenting with him. I first tried him as American. I tried Lucifer as American 5 years ago in my own living room, and I was like, he just sounds like a dick. Everyone's going to like him. And then I realised that in my experience of being in America, talking with a British accent, everyone for some reason thinks you're really charming, even if you're not. And so that's where I started to play around with that notion of like, having, and it seemed to lend itself to that, the way the character was written. So when I came to doing Michael, it just was like, well, I just wanted him to be the opposite. I just went back to that initial feeling of like, well, if I want to be really unlikable and sinister, I'm going to play him with this American accent. So he's so different from his brother as well.
And seeing the little bits I have of Michael at this point now, I absolutely agree. Y'all made the right choice. Your American accent is beautiful and flawless, but I don't like him. I don't like him so much. Just even hearing that twang to him. I have to bring it to this because, again, you have some amazing fans. And when I was on like Reddit and the internet, just like kind of Googling the hashtags, they're very passionate. They're very passionate about you particular. They're very passionate about you as far as Lucifer and his prowess. Let's just put it to you that way. There's a whole thread on your shirtless scenes on Reddit. Like, this is like a thing. And so I really wanted to talk to you about where you embraced that the most, which was when you did your thirst tweets for BuzzFeed. Because it is,
oh my God.
it was one of my, I'm a connoisseur of that series. And personally, I may have put a few thirsty tweets in my day. I'm not going to say yes or no. It's out there. But I'm just curious what it's like to film those, because I've never talked to anyone that's filmed them, and I imagine it's quite surreal.
Can you tell that I'm going a bit red at the moment? So I basically, you know when you don't know what you're signing up for? That's basically my experience of doing the first tweets. I mean, I'm not someone who particularly indulges social media too much, right? And so certain kind of phrases and the way you phrase themselves and people's kind of emoji use and stuff like that, it's kind of news to me sometimes. So I was shocked whilst reading and kind of just trying to get through it and not just, I was dying inside, is the truth, basically, dying inside.
That's the best way to do it. Again, as someone I've watched all of them from the very first one till now. I love that series. I find it to be absolutely hilarious. And I will say the people that do it the best and have the best version of it are people that are very unassuming, and you can tell they're genuinely mortified, but more particularly the Brits. Like yours Taron Egerton's, Richard
Oh my
Madden's,
gosh.
Henry Cavill's are some of the best ones because there's all of y'all say the same thing. It's some variation of like that's quite full on, and there's just something really great about y'all being posh and
We're a very
comfortable.
reserved nation. We're a very reserved nation. Talking about such things publicly is, having to repeat Tom Ellis's daddy, Tom Ellis's daddy, Tom. I have no idea what that means, but like it sounds funny when you recount it in a British accent for some reason.
Well, if you ever come to Los Angeles, I'll explain because we all know.
I'm in the UK, literally being daddy at the moment.
I know. You're very happily like dad doing your thing, but I did appreciate it. It was very it was very fun and very funny.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I'm not gonna lie, and like I said, I'm a fan of that series. You did very well. So you may not have liked it, but you get an A+ for your effort.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. I feel better about it now.
You should, because that's what people like. I'm gonna get this last one, and then we're gonna let you get out of here and get you back to being dad and enjoying the rest of your lovely evening in the UK. But I wanted to ask you, so what's up next for you? Like, what do you have going on besides? Like, when are y'all gonna maybe get to film season 6? Like, what's the deal? Do you know yet?
Well, we are. I head back to America in about a week or so to isolate for a couple of weeks, so I can then supposedly go into pre-production for season 6. So we are aiming to start again by the end of September. Obviously, everything's up in the air at the moment, but that's with the best intentions, that's what we're doing. We do have to start actually with the end of season 5 because we didn't quite finish season 5.
Wow.
We were about 6 days away from finishing, and then obviously the COVID lockdown happened, so we just had to pull the plugs and go home, and we've been sort of at home ever since, really.
Wow. Well, everyone will be very excited about it. I just have to say, from just looking at the chat, you guys are just so international, and there's just literally people all over the globe that are obsessed with this show. So I don't know if you want to give a shout out to your global fans.
Always. I mean, the Lucy fans, ever since our season 4 pickup and the Save Lucy campaign, feel like shareholders in our show. So thank you to each and every one of you for watching and for talking about it and getting your friends to watch and getting your mum to watch and all those things that you do, because quite honestly, it's an absolute privilege to have done it for 5 years. And I think season 5, and I said this about season 4, but I honestly believe that season 5 is our strongest season yet. So
I can't wait.
Enjoy.
I can't wait. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being such a good sport. And
you're very welcome.
Have a great evening, and we'll do this again coming into season 6. Like, this is not. We'll keep coming back to talk about the show because we'll keep coming back.
But I don't think I'll be doing first tweets again.
It's fair.
Once is enough.
Now we can enjoy it for the rest of the time.
Quenched. Yeah.
That's good. Nobody else's has. I've seen the tweet. Anyway, thank you, sir. You have a great evening. I'm going to let you
Take
go.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. Thank you again for watching. I want to again thank Tom Ellis for being such a great sport. Again, you guys can check out season 5 of Lucifer. Not going to be the last season. Going to be the next to last season. You can check that out globally on Netflix, August 21st. Thank you guys again so much for watching. My name is Jack.